trusting God and just taking that next right step. Walk in the light that God gives you. This is something my dad has always said. I remember him saying it when I was little even. Walk in the light that God gives you, and he'll give you more light.
What's up, guys? Welcome in to another episode. Today we have the one, the only, my friend, Jackson Bates. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing great. Glad to have you in here.
Good to be here.
What are we doing today, my man?
Making it look good.
Making it look good? What are you making it look good for?
Well, I'm getting engaged.
Let's go.
So, got to be good for engagement photos.
Now, we've had a few different things with your hair, as people that have followed along have probably seen. Obviously, when I first started cutting your hair, we were going super short, down to the skin pretty much on the sides, just barely enough on the top to spike up. But now you've been growing it out a little bit longer.
Right, yeah.
How you liking that?
I like it. I like it a lot.
Like it?
My hair's a lot more wavy, I found out, since I started growing it out. Actually, Jonas told me I should grow it out.
Yes, sir.
All right.
And you liked it.
I did. I love it.
But now we have a big day coming up, and we want to switch it up a little bit.
Yeah, we want to make it look a little bit neater. We still want some waves, so a little bit longer on top. Just want to make the sides a little more even and the back a little more even.
The real question is, what does Emerson want?
That's what she wants.
That's what she wants.
She wants.
So not all the way down to skin.
A little bit more clean, not all the way down to the skin. So similar to what I had for Trace's wedding.
Perfect. We can do that, my man.
Perfect.
So, obviously, by the time this comes out, you're engaged. Congratulations.
Right. Thank you.
How did it go?
It went great.
All right. So what do we...
She said yes.
Perfect. So tell me a little bit. Obviously, like I said, at this point, for the people watching it, you're already engaged. This has already happened. People have probably seen pictures, videos. Go ahead and tell us what your plan is, what's going on.
So my plan is to surprise her. She wanted to be surprised. That's one of the main things she wanted. And then she wanted her sister and a lot of her family to be there after the actual engagement for like an engagement party. It's happening down in Florida. I went and found a park down there, Craft Azalea Park, with a super cool like Roman architecture style arch. So basically the plan is to have her family, they're going on a going to a fancy dinner because it's her sister's second year anniversary. So they're going to go to take pictures at the park for her and her husband, and I'm actually going to be waiting at the park.
Nice. So does she have any idea this is happening? Is this planned? Is this orchestrated?
We have been planning this for roughly 3.5 to 4 months now, and she has no idea. She thinks it's happening in late May.
How does she feel about it being in late May?
She doesn't like it. She wants it to happen sooner, but we have her convinced that I have other things going on that need to take priority. But that's just to surprise her.
There we go. That's the way to do it.
She's almost impossible to surprise, so working on surprising her is very difficult. It's a very intricate plan.
So let's get into your story a little bit, because I obviously know a little bit more, but maybe the people watching don't.
Yeah.
Emerson, and what's her last name currently?
Her name is Emerson Wells.
Yep.
She is 19 years old.
Yep.
I met her in February of last year. I went down to see my sister Alyssa for my birthday, and a friend of mine from down there actually invited me to go to a rodeo with them, and there was a mutual friend group that we had, and she happened to be in that friend group, and that's where I met her. I met her at a rodeo. And then we hung out a few days later, and I actually got her number, and we've actually talked every single day since then.
Yeesh. So you guys hit it off right off the bat.
We hit it off right off the bat. Started talking, and we've been talking ever since. Started dating in April of last year, so April of 2022. And then now we're planning on getting engaged.
So tell me this, was there ever a moment where it hit you, you remember the time, you remember the date, you remember what was going on when you were like, she's the one I'm going to marry?
Yeah, I do. So I don't remember the exact date, but it was about a month and a half after I met her. and we'd been talking pretty much every day. And I was like, you know what? This is the girl I want to marry. I'm going to do whatever it takes to marry her. So it was about mid-March to early April. And then I went down to Florida for her birthday. And I took her on a date. It was actually my first date. I'd never been on a date. So went on my first date with her. And then I asked her to be my girlfriend there. I had no intention of doing it. We had a really cool place I was going to do it out, but I couldn't get the words out. So I asked her to be my girlfriend in an ice cream shop drive-through.
So you had already you had planned a whole event to ask her to be your girlfriend?
I hadn't planned on it. But the place we went on a date, it was like a really nice park. We went on like a picnic at Sunset. And Sunset, super nice park, right on the water. And then I couldn't get the words out because I knew I wanted to ask her to be my girlfriend, but I didn't know how. I'd never done that before. So she is my first girlfriend.
Nice.
But yeah, so I couldn't get the words out. Yeah, 1 for 1. But she asked me if there was something on my mind because I got really quiet. And when we were headed back to the house, she's like, "Is there something on your mind?" I was like, "Well, yeah, I had a question for you, but I couldn't really get it out." But then basically asked her to be my girlfriend. She said yes. So we started dating April 23rd.
Nice.
Yeah.
You've been dating for over a year now. Almost a year.
Coming up on a year, yeah. It's been almost 11 months.
Now, what are the plans for getting married now? Everyone has seen you get engaged. Married, do we have a date yet? Or a timetable? We
have a timetable. I'm not really probably going to get into the timetable just yet, but it'll be sometime in the fall, nice. Lord willing.
And so what does that mean for you? Because you're a little bit more of a private person, obviously. Right, a lot of people follow your family. Right. And they know a lot about many of your siblings. I feel like your personality is not private at all. You're very open, right. You're fun, you're a good time. But as far as social media goes and posting and YouTube, you kind of stay away from a lot of that. You have an Instagram page, but you don't use it much. Yeah. I think it's just about kind of you and Emerson, and you don't go too into depth. So what are your plans? You've been living in Arkansas for how long?
So I moved to Arkansas literally about a month after I met Emerson, and I started working with a friend, Jason Duggar, building houses, doing construction. So I've been there in Arkansas for a year now, doing construction. New construction, basically building houses. I was job site manager for 7, 8 of his projects, 5 very long-term projects, 2 short-term projects. Job site manager for all of those. And then I'm actually planning on moving to Florida in late April, early May, something like that.
So you're moving down there. That's where she's from?
She is from Florida, yeah. She's down in Central Florida. So I'm planning on moving down there and working for a good friend of mine who builds docks. So similar line of construction, just a little bit different because it'd be in Florida and it's outdoor in the water. So yeah, I've been doing construction since I was roughly 14. I started working with my brother-in-law, Chad. He taught me pretty much everything I know. And then kind of moved on, went to work with Jason Duggar over in Arkansas after about 5.5 years of working with Chad. And then I worked with Jason for about 1.5 years. Got about 7 years of construction under my belt. And then this whole dock thing will be new, but similar. So that's what I'm planning on right now.
So how is Emerson adjusting to the family? Because obviously that's a lot for someone to marry into. And I'm sure, what size family does she come from?
So Emerson comes from a family of 6. So she's one of 6. She knew nothing about me or my family or anything like that, how big it is or crazy it is. So that was a shock when she first met my family. But she's adjusted very well and she fits right in. They love her. But that was quite a shock because she was not used to, 6 is a huge family. But for
But
me,
it's nothing
yeah,
compared to
for
19.
for me, sometimes I forget, how big 19 is because I grew up with it. I hear
Right.
someone say I've got 7 kids. I'm like, goodness, that's a ton of kids. And they're, well, that's nothing compared to your family's 19. I'm like, well, I grew up with that. That's normal kind of thing. I don't think twice about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny.
Let's go ahead and talk about that a little bit. Where are you in the pecking order of 19? Are you dead center?
So I'm not quite dead center. I'm south of center.
Okay.
I'm number 12. Josie is dead center. Josie is 2 older than me. It's Katie and then Josie.
Gotcha.
So I'm number 12. Yeah. So basically middle child.
Do you have middle child syndrome?
What's that?
So no, you don't.
No, I don't, I guess. Maybe a little bit.
Don't even realize it.
Yeah. So, Trace was the closest older brother I had. And then I was really close to Zach growing up. But yeah, just being 12, it was normal. If you're upset at someone or someone's upset at you, you've always got another, 15, 16 people you can go hang out with and be close to.
That worked.
And with that vast of a family, there was literally opportunities in every field. I've got a brother or brother-in-law who does every kind of construction imaginable. Evan is an electrician, Kelton's a plumber, Bobby's a plumber, John does HVAC, Chad does carpentry and, trim, things like that, remodel. And I went with Chad. Zach did framing for a few years, so he knows all the framing stuff. And then Trace, Lawson, Nathan, and Zach all were officers at one point. I know Trace still is. Then my sister's cosmetologist and all that stuff. So there was a very vast field, not to mention my dad's doing trees. And then Nathan is a pilot, an instructor. So literally every opportunity you could want in a family like mine. So yeah, but growing up in the middle, I loved it. It was great. There's nothing I would change about my childhood. I have the greatest family in the world and the greatest parents in the world.
So I know we don't like to pick favorites, but we're going to do it today.
Okay.
Of the 19, who were you the closest with?
Growing up, I was probably closest to Warden, Isaiah, and Zach in my family. And then Alyssa, when she got married, I got really close to her. But just growing up, because me, Warden, and Isaiah were right beside each other in age. And then Trace being older than us. Trace always hung out with us rather than Lawson and Nathan until he turned 18 or so. So it was Trace, Jackson, Warden, and Zaya pretty much all of my childhood. So I was really close to Trace and then Warden and Zaya because Warden and Zaya were, we were the 3 Musketeers, Jackson, Warden, and Zaya. And then Zach being my older brother, who's a lot of a mentor in my life. And then Alyssa.
So what was it like when you first moved out to Arkansas and for the first time in your life, you're away from all of them? Now, I know Nathan is kind of there, right, but he does a lot of traveling, things like that. But for the most part, being away from the parents, being away from the brothers, everything you've known, how was that when you first get out there?
So moving out was different. I didn't actually intend on moving to Arkansas. I've got a truck over there I went to do some work on. And then when I first originally moved, it was late 2020. Actually, early 2020 when coronavirus hit, I kind of moved to Arkansas. I was going to a program down in Texas for some training I wanted. And then coronavirus hit and I kind of got stuck in Arkansas. And that's when I started doing construction with Jason. And then end of 2020, early 2021, I broke my arm and ended up going and doing some more work in Arkansas. But I was back and forth between Tennessee and Arkansas. So I wasn't really moved out. I'd be gone for 2 weeks at a time. So it was kind of a traveling job. And then in March, I actually full-time moved and moved to Arkansas. So it's a lot different than being in the environment I was at home. Because, at home it's, get up, go to work kind of thing, which, that's pretty much everywhere. But, you've got that support group that you've got your parents, your family, everybody's right near. But when you move out and you kind of go off on your own a little bit, you can't really necessarily rely on your family that's right there beside you. You can call them for anything you need and they'll be there for everything you need, but you're 1,200 miles away kind of thing. So just figuring that out was a little bit different, something I wasn't used to, but it was good for me. It helped me grow up and mature a lot.
So this is your first time being mic'd up behind the camera in what, a year and a half?
This is probably the first time mic'd up behind the camera in, a year and a half.
You miss it?
Or so. Yeah.
Well, what were your thoughts when they said, you know what, this is going to be the last season, we're going to be done, and it's over? And like you kind of said the same way with growing up with 19 kids, it's pretty much all you ever knew, right? I mean, for 9 or 10 years of your life, you were used to every big moment, every event being filmed and caught behind camera. And what were your first impressions of life without it?
So for me, honestly, I grew up with it. I was used to it. There was, we started filming when I was about 9 or 10, I'd say. So, I mean, it was just normal. And honestly, we had just become friends with everyone on the crew. So mostly we were just good friends. Honestly, the whole filming thing, I didn't really care much about it other than, it was a great ministry and everything. I loved that and it was kind of cool. And we were really good friends with the crew. But, the whole being in front of a camera, it really wasn't everything for me. So, it wasn't really a big deal for me. It was, kind of sad because I wasn't going to be hanging out with the guys anymore, the crew. But I had already pretty much moved when they finished filming. So I was in Arkansas full time when they finished filming. So I was already just in the shows very, very little. But
all right, what about this? Think about this for a second. Give us your favorite episode. Do you have a favorite episode or a favorite moment?
Oh, I never even watched a single. I don't even know if I watched 5 episodes.
Not a favorite episode, but a favorite moment. Something that you remember filming, you had a blast doing it, and something that probably would not have happened if it wasn't for the film crew. So let's say it this way. What was your favorite experience from the film crew that you say, you know what, if it wasn't for that, I definitely would not have got to do that, and that was something that I'll remember forever. Favorite experience from the TV show, from the film crew, all of that.
The most memorable experience was probably going skiing, because I don't know if we'd ever gone skiing unless for that, but that was pretty cool because now we're all into snowboarding and skiing. That was probably one of the most memorable because now my whole family does skiing, and that's a super cool vacation my family does every year now. Favorite, though. Probably the favorite thing about the whole show was all the super cool home videos we have now. Just being able to, when I'm married and have kids, I'll be able to go back and show my kids the kind of childhood I had. And it's pretty cool. Just really cool, the nostalgia of that.
Now, have you ever made Emerson sit down and watch episodes?
I have not made her watch any episodes. She's seen a couple, but she didn't know anything about the show or my family when we first met. That was funny, but
how'd that conversation go?
It went good. Like when she met me, within a few days, one of the friends in the friend group knew all about it and told her about it. So she looked it up and she was like, "Wow, this is kind of cool, kind of funny." But yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of episodes. I don't know if I could pick a favorite.
Fair enough.
We filmed a lot of cool things.
So long-term plans, the future for Jackson and Emerson Bates. Okay. Do you think you guys live in Florida for the rest of your lives, or?
I don't know about the rest of our lives because that's all in God's plan and time, and we'll have to trust Him for that. If he takes us in a different direction, we're gonna follow where He leads. But for right now, yeah, we're gonna be in Florida for right now, as far as I know, and for the foreseeable future. I'll be doing construction, and Lord willing, I'm going to start my own construction company down there or something along those lines, because I really want to work for myself. That'd be really great.
And construction is what you want to do?
Yeah, I know more about construction than pretty much anything else. I've been doing it for a lot longer, so I have a lot more knowledge about it. You remember my plan was to join the Marine Corps.
Yes, dude. You used to talk about all that all the time.
And I really wanted to join. I was planning on joining, and then I broke my arm and got metal plates and screws in my right arm, and was told that I couldn't join, which I don't know if that's necessarily true or not from the recruiter I was talking to. But by the time they got back with me, life plans had already kind of changed. And I'd met Emerson, and we were already dating and everything. So I'd kind of moved on to a different stage of life.
Was that pretty tough for you when you realized that wasn't going to be something you were able to pursue?
At first, when I first broke my arm and realized that, that was pretty difficult because I'd been planning my whole life to join the Marines. That was kind of, my life plan. Everything I did, everything I wanted to do was all revolving around that. And at first that was really difficult. And then, I kind of said, you know what, God, let's, you take control and you lead me where you want me, and we'll see where that goes. And I've never looked back.
It's always shocking to me when, we pray or, we ask God, we want something, we always say we want your will, whatever it takes. But then when it does interfere with our plans, you're kind of like, you get disappointed, then long term, you see what the reasoning was. And then you look back, you're like, man, I should have just trusted him. You asked for it, but then he gives it to you in his own way that maybe doesn't fit our plans. And so, do you think that if you don't break your arm and you do get accepted into the military, you probably don't meet Emerson, right? And so we're probably not sitting here talking about an engagement, So it's like God had a plan. You've prayed your whole life for, the right mate, the right person.
Right.
And unfortunately, at the beginning, it felt like it cost you your dream, but you didn't realize that long term, what was coming. And God always has bigger and better plans for us, and we just have to trust Him. So how did you get through that with knowing that you couldn't go to the military and you were kind of left with, okay, what am I going to do next?
Right. So for me, I know, like you said, we pray, we want something and we pray that God's plan lines up with ours, but what we should be doing is praying that our plan lines up with God's. And my whole thing was, God, I want your plan to line up with mine because this is what I want, but I want your will. So basically, I want you to bless what I want, kind of thing. And God was like, you know what? I've got a little bit of a different plan for you. And at first it was difficult. And I didn't really understand because I felt like, God, you've given me this desire. I want to do this. Why'd you take it away, kind of thing? And then, after a few months, it's kind of, all right, I understand what you're doing. You're trying to teach me something. And then it's just, letting God have control, trusting Him, and just taking that next right step, the next thing to do. And, just trusting Him and everything. And then one thing led to another. And He brought me to where I really wanted to be in a way that I couldn't have expected. He brought me what I really had been praying for in a different way than I wanted it.
Yeah.
But it was a lot better than I could have ever dreamed.
Yep. And you can attest to this because you witnessed the same thing happen in my life.
Right.
I had plans for what I wanted to do coming out of high school. You were literally there the moment that He took all of that away.
Yeah, I saw it.
You saw it happen. Yeah. You saw me on the basketball court go down, dislocated kneecap for the third time, having to get surgery. And it just pressed a pause on everything I thought I wanted to do coming out of high school and going into college. And I had to spend the entire summer. And I was down there in Knoxville a portion of that summer. You guys were up in Indiana a portion of that summer. And obviously, you guys had a lot to do with me being here, and I owe so much to your family. But you watched the same thing happen in my life, where God closed the door, and I was kind of lost and like, hey, I thought I had these plans. Yeah. What are you doing? But long term now, I can only just say thank you. Like, once again, you were right. I was wrong.
I'm so glad I wasn't right.
Exactly. So
that's kind of like sometimes God will make you put a pause on what you truly feel like you want for what you truly need. He'll pause your wants and dreams sometimes, not in every case, but sometimes he'll have you wanting something and getting ready for something for a different reason than you feel like you're getting ready for something.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll be teaching you something by teaching you patience, teaching you to trust him, and then, kind of change the direction on you. He was teaching you, he was having you want that for a reason, yes, but maybe not the reason you thought.
Yeah.
A lot of times he'll do things to teach you so that you can be more of a tool for his kingdom.
Yeah.
And, he'll put a pause on what you felt like you wanted, and then when you kind of zoom out and you see the full picture, you can understand a lot more. And that's a lot of times what it takes.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of times you have to be on the lookout for those things and be ready, like, hey, something may happen that interferes, and you got to say, what's God doing here? Like you may be living your best life, going down a path that you want. And then, it could be something similar to mine, or like an injury, and you could just break your collarbone in the middle of doing what you love. And God's just trying to tell you, press pause and look to him. And maybe he's trying to teach you something through this. And he may stop you from doing the things that you love to do temporarily and make you sit on the sidelines and watch. But he's trying to teach you something. He's trying to teach you patience and to understand that even through this storm, he's got something for you, something for you better. And you just got to be patient and look to him.
A lot of times when God takes you through a storm, a lot of people, they're thinking, hey, God, where are you in this storm? I can't see you. Why are you letting this happen? Why am I walking alone, kind of thing? But a lot of times they don't understand that God isn't walking, you're not alone in the storm. You see, he's the boat and the anchor that you're riding in that storm. But a lot of times we can't really see God in the storms because we're not looking for God in the storm. Look for God in the storm.
Right now. I love it.
No, we can't see God in the storm because we're too busy looking at the storm. It's like when Peter got out of the boat, when he had his eyes on Jesus, he was able to walk on water. But the minute he started looking around at the storm, fear overtook and he kind of lost sight of what he was looking at. And when he called out to Jesus, Jesus pulled him right back on top of the waves. But, when you're in the storm, make sure you keep your focus on Christ because he's right there in the storm with you. You just got to keep watching him, and you'll be able to walk on water in that storm, and you'll come out stronger for it. But when you take your eyes off of him, it makes it a lot harder to understand. See, God's going to be in that storm with you the whole time. He'll never leave you or forsake you. Just keep your eyes on him, and you'll understand where he's at. And, I kind of took my eyes off of him and I didn't understand. And then when I saw the full picture, I understood what God was doing with my life. Not fully, but I understood where he was taking me. And, his plan was going to work out better than anything I could have ever imagined. And it has.
Dude, it's crazy to see you like this because obviously when I came in the picture, you were probably like 12 years 13, old and you were wild. And many people probably don't know this, but one of my first jobs when I came down here to Knoxville was tutoring that group of boys, you, Ward, and Zay, and we got so close during those times. And but man, you were tough, dude. You're a stubborn, hard-headed guy who wanted to do things your way. And but you were always a blast. But you were always just so free and just a good time. And you were always you. That's something that I always appreciated about almost every single one of the members of your family in your own separate way. You guys were always you. You know what I mean? Right. You didn't shy away from that. You didn't shy away from what you loved to do and who you were. And it's changed so much from the time you left Knoxville to being in Arkansas. And obviously, I think Emerson has a ton to do with that, but it also probably has lots to do with the fact that you did step out and kind of go on your own, separate from the family for a little bit. And now you've blossomed into this genuine man who, I think of Jackson Bates in my head as the young little jokester, always playing tricks, always cracking the jokes, always saying a sly remark. And now here you are talking about how you're going to get married and you've seen yourself grow from a level of, not trusting in God and not trusting his plan to fully trusting in God and fully trusting in his plan. And I think that's huge, especially as you go into this next step of your life. That's so important. You need to have that, and you need to have him as the forefront because that's the only way that anything in your life is ever going to move forward.
Right. I appreciate that. But yeah, you're right. Trusting God and just taking that next right step. Walk in the light that God gives you. This is something my dad has always said. I mean, I remember him saying it when I was little even. Walk in the light that God gives you and he'll give you more light. And I've found that so true in my life. Every time, I feel like I'm running out of light and running out of direction. I feel like I don't know what I'm supposed to do or what I'm going to do. I pray and, I take that last step that I know to take and God just opens a door, turns on a light, and I know what I'm supposed to do. He leads and directs, and like he says, he'll never leave us or forsake us. And he's just right there with us. And, he gives you more light as you walk in the light he gives you. But yeah, Jonas, I forgot about that. That's crazy. Jonas was the best tutor we ever had.
You didn't feel that way at the time, I don't think.
No, I didn't.
So I'm sure, obviously, since the TV show has ended, a lot of the fans and people that continue to like to keep up with your family have resorted to social media, and many of your siblings have made the move to YouTube to kind of continue to document their lives and keep people up with themselves, their children, all of that. Do you and Emerson have any plans for that? Or is that not something you...
With the whole YouTube thing, I don't know. It's something we'll definitely pray about, and we'll consider it. I don't know if we will do a YouTube or not. Maybe. I mean, we'll be in all of our siblings if they want us to be, but I don't know if we'll have our own. That's something we're going to pray about and continue to ask the Lord about. But I'm going
to be honest. I don't see Jackson as the YouTube guy.
I'm not really crazy YouTube kind of thing. So I don't know much about it. So as of right now, we're not planning on it. But plans do change sometimes.
That is true.
So
that is true.
We'll see.
So have you and Emerson had the conversation about how many kids? Are you guys going to try to break your parents' record there? Or?
So we're not going to try to break our parents' record. Obviously, we'll take as many as the Lord gives us. But, we want at least 3 because, 2 is just not quite enough.
I can't wait to see Jackson Bates the dad, man. That is going to be something right there.
I'm excited. I can't wait one day. But at least 3. But I'm not the kind of person who's going to put a number on God. But I don't want more children than I can spend quality equal time with them. Like, I don't want any of my children to feel like they don't have enough time with me or neglected in any way. So I don't want to spread myself too thin with my children. So, whatever that number ends up being, that I can, spend quality time with them and still, be the dad and give them advice and, train them up in the way they should go.
That's good, man. That's good.
But at least 3.
Yeah, and like you said, there's no even point to try to put a number on God, because even if you do put a number on God, His will is ultimately going to prevail. So
don't put God in a box.
Nope.
You can't, because He's God. There's not a box that can hold Him. We're putting ourselves in a box when we try to put God in the box. And boxes are useful sometimes, but only for storing things.
All right, well, man, we're almost finished up here.
Cool.
But I want you to tell the people something that most people don't know about Jackson Bates. Give us something interesting, something that, maybe wasn't really talked about on the show, or you've kept private, or something that even after the filming has come to light, something that most people don't know about Jackson Bates. Could be something you enjoy, something you don't enjoy, funny story, anything. Give us something that the people don't know.
I don't know if I've ever given my salvation testimony.
Okay. You want to give that?
So I don't know if I've ever shared this, but yeah, I'll share that. Right. I got saved at a young age. I was 8 years old. It was September 5th, 2010. I kind of grew up in a Christian home. We went to church all the time. You know, although I went to church, I was a drug baby. I got drugged to church every week, every service. If there was, you know, a church service going on within 50 miles, my family was at it. I didn't really understand all of it when I was younger, though. But when I was 8 years old, we were in our church. Pastor Jack Gwynn was our pastor, and it was at Stillwaters Baptist Church. I was 8 years old, September 5th, 2010. My dad preached at the church sometimes. This is before he was a pastor. But that night, everything kind of clicked, and I really understood what salvation was, you know, how Christ had died and come to save us, you know, gave his life for ours, and the blood was the only thing that could cleanse the spots on our lives, our sin. And I grabbed my dad, I went forward and I got saved, kind of thing. It was super cool, really great experience, and I'll never forget it. And I encourage everyone to do it. But, you know, as I got older, I truly believe I was saved at 8 years old, but I feel like I really took hold of my faith when I got older. When I was mid to late teens, I went to college, at Crown College. I kind of understood my faith a lot more when I went to Bible college. And then, you know, when I moved to Arkansas, it kind of really tested a lot more my faith. Just to see how much I would trust God when it came those time to make difficult decisions, when it came time for trials of life a little bit, just to trust God. So, yeah, I got saved when I was 8 years old, but it's still a learning experience every single day.
All right, well then, you ready to see what we came up with?
I sure am.
So I know it's probably a little shorter than we've had it in a while, but had to match those sides up, and but not too short. It should grow back out pretty quick. So let's see what we got here, my man.
Perfect.
What do you think, my man?
I like it.
Gonna be short enough for you?
It's perfect.
So it's still short enough or long enough where you can kind of slick it back. You'll have a little bit of wave, obviously.
Perfect.
Dries out a little bit, but matched up those sides pretty well. Left a little more on the top, obviously.
I like it.
All look good for you, my man?
Looks perfect. Thank you.
That'll work. You think she'll like it?
I sure think she will. Thank you.
Appreciate you, my man. We'll clean up the back of your neck. We'll get you out of here.
Perfect.
So where can the people find you? They want to see the pictures of the engagement. They want to see everything. Where can they follow? Obviously it's already happened, so they want to see go back, see
photos,
the pictures, see the videos.
Photos, videos, things like that are going to be on my Instagram.
Which is?
I forgot the name of it.
Come on. Is it your name? Just search Jackson Bates.
Jackson Bates, yeah. I think there's a Jackson E. Bates, actually.
Jackson E. Bates, okay.
Yeah.
Jackson E. Bates on Instagram.
Lowercase, yeah.
What's do you know Emerson's? Here's the
she's
test.
She's private.
Oh, she's private.
Yeah,
okay,
Emerson's private.
Nice. Does she accept any kind of
she does not
people she doesn't know or
she
no?
doesn't accept a lot of people she doesn't know just because she wants to keep hers as private as possible, kind of thing.
Respect.
As of right now. But yeah, mine is not private, but it's Jackson E. Bates, I believe.
Jackson E. Bates. See it all there? Catch it all there?
Yep. So awesome. Photos, videos should be on my Instagram.
Awesome, man. I'm excited for you. You nervous?
A little bit. I'm excited.
Excited?
Mostly excited, yeah.
Have you already rehearsed it?
I have not.
Oh.
I found that rehearsing things for me messes it up
more.
Better on the fly.
Awesome, my man. Well, I appreciate you coming in here, sharing your story, guys. Check out his engagement. Follow it all the way through, and stay tuned for the wedding. Should be a good time, and that will be in Florida, right?
We'll be in Florida.
The wedding will be in Florida, so hopefully, maybe I'll get an invite. Get to go down there, catch the beach.
You already got an invite.
Well, we'll see.
Quit your acting.
You never know. You never know. He moves to Arkansas. I don't hear from him for like 14 months, and then all of a sudden he's getting engaged and he needs a haircut, and look who it is. He calls me up. So good old friend Jonas. So I love you, man. I'm proud of you. Glad to have you on here, and maybe we'll see you again soon. Maybe after the wedding or something like that. We'll get you back on here, talk about it, and we'll see the growth continue to happen. Sound good, my man?
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Go follow my man on Instagram, and we will see you guys soon. Peace.
Peace out.